dusk settled in. It was around 7:30 p.m. Janet entered the residence of the Romax. There she was given specific instructions in case if anything transpired. Before leaving for an evening party, Ed Romack showed Janet how to load and unload and fire his shotgun if the need arose, and placed the gun near the front door. In case anyone came calling, he advised her to turn on the bright porch light before answering the doorbell. She was also assured that their little son Greg liked to sleep with the radio turned on. Therefore, handling him wouldn't be troublesome for her. Thereafter, the Romax left for the party in good spirits. Throughout the evening, the weather turned bad and it was worsening during the late hours. The temperature dropped to mid-20 degrees, followed by the storms that brought in heavy rain, sleet and hailstorms. It was therefore a spine-chilling night. Quite natural enough, the young Janet literally got scared while she was babysitting the child. That night, around 10:30 p.m, a girl's jarring phone call. Sorry, something literally flew in my face. Was received by an officer at the police station. The girl on the phone screamed hysterically with the words, "Come quick," that the officer heard. As soon as the girl was about to disclose her identity and mention her whereabouts, the telephonic connection was cut short, and it was only the dial tone that would be heard. At that late hour, the telephonic company's desk board did not have any staff. Therefore, the girl's phone call went untraced. Back then, technology also wasn't sturdy enough to easily trace the phone calls compared to the modern times. As such, the girl's ordeal feels scary, much like a helpless individual struck amidst a difficult situation. Shortly after Ed Romack's wife called home from the Moon Valley Villa, where both of them, along with the Mueller and other friends, were partying. They called to check on Janet and to find out if their son was doing fine. However, nobody answered the call. Assuming that Janet might have fallen asleep as it was already quite late in the night, hence Anne dismissed her concerns. The Romax continued their party for a few more hours and finally decided to head home at late midnight. It was around 1:30 a.m. when the Romax returned home, and they noticed that the front window blinds were open and the porch lights lit up. Ed found that the house's front and back doors were already unlocked. as a tailor. Local people admired his dress sense and remembered him as someone who carried a mechanical pencil in his front shirt or inside his jacket's pockets. According to the testimony laid by the Romax to the grand jury, they felt something weird about Robert Mueller, who had already visited the family's house on multiple occasions. As per Mrs. Romack, she felt frightened and uncomfortable around Mueller's presence due to his evil eyes towards women. Ed Romack, who submitted his testimony, he mentioned that Mueller once told him that he liked Janet. Robert was very well aware of the fact that the girl would babysit at Romack's house that night because he himself asked the girl to babysit at his home. Furthermore, on that night, Mueller excused himself from the group's party in order to meet a doctor who was meant to attend his son, and therefore remained disappeared for nearly 2 hours, making a comeback. However, the case against Mueller as the murderer became problematic. After the investigating department's all-night questioning session, the answers of Mueller were found to be unsatisfactory. To find the truth, the investigators made Mueller undergo a lie detector test. Because of the unfortunate results of the lie detector test, the detectives had to let Mueller go free. Releasing the findings, the grand jury did not return Mueller's indictment and pointed the inefficiency of the various investigating departments in resolving the murder mystery. Soon after, Mueller joined the Air Force and left Colombia and later sued the investigators for violating his civil rights during the questioning session. However, he lost the case. He eventually died in 2006, aged 83. With his passing away, the murder theory of Janet Christman also went silent. It's been 70 years now, and the ever-cheerful, hard-working Janet who was saving for her Easter burgundy dress would have turned 84 years old today. Both the Romax and Crispin's family believed Mueller was responsible for Janet's murder. However, they remained much in grief because of the law's inefficiency in rendering justice and getting the case an ultimate closure. Janet's murder case, officially until today, remains unsolved. And that brings us to the end of today's case. So do leave your comments in the description down below on what you believe happened, if you feel there's any suspects that you think should be questioned, or, do you think Robert was innocent, or, just let's have discussions in the comment section about your guys' thoughts on this case, as it is unsolved. So, again, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Please don't forget to like, comment, share